Hey guys, really foggy day here down at Tagaytay, and today we're going to be talking about the first steps to coming to the Philippines, which is getting rid of all your goods and starting to build your emergency fund. And I want to talk about this a little bit because it's very, very important, and here's why. Because the first steps you have to do is you have to start downsizing everything. You have to start getting rid of all your stuff that you have back home, because you're gonna have to downsize to come here, and unless you're planning on putting it in a container or something like that and shipping it over here, or balik buying boxes, whatever, which I don't recommend. I recommend trying to get everything down to like at least 2 pieces of luggage, maybe a carry-on or something like that. And it's a good way to travel with less. The less you have, the better off you are. You'll be much happier when you get here starting over. And also, you want to start building your emergency fund. Now, this starts taking place like about 2 to 3 years before you come here, or depending on your job, some people can cut back and start saving, maybe move to a place that you're paying less rent, or maybe even move it into just a room or Airbnb or something back home and start saving all your money for your emergency fund. Now, a lot of people don't bring a really good emergency fund. You should try to build the best emergency fund you can possibly build back in the States. And to do that, you should stop buying things. Stop buying things you don't need. Start eating cheaper. Now, I'm not saying less healthy, I'm saying cheaper if you can. And I know in the United States, inflation is really getting bad lately, so it's really getting tough. But you really need to start saving every nickel that you possibly can. And then you need to start maybe working more. And by that I mean either maybe a little bit of overtime, or making a job for yourself online, or possibly it could be working as a security guard maybe on weekends. Something you don't want to overwork yourself, okay? And I did that by working as a security guard on weekends because it was kind of easy to do. I could kind of relax there. I didn't have to do much work. It was, easy money. I could just kind of sit back, relax. And also I did a lot of planning during that time too, which also helped me. So the time that I had as a guard, I used to do planning. I used to go online and read everything I could learn about the Philippines and all the things I needed to do. I would sit there and write it on a notebook or notepad or whatever, and then I would put it up on my whiteboard, anything that was relevant or important or whatever. And it was quite an enjoyable experience actually doing that, because I liked doing it. I like planning. It's kind of like a hobby of mine, because I like seeing it go to fruition and happen. And when you feel the fruits of your labors, it's pretty good when you finally get to the end. You know what I mean? Look where I am right now. I mean, I'm here. So that's the fruits of your labors, and you guys can do it too. It's not that hard. I started this plan roughly, I don't know, I'll say about 8 years ago, and I've been here 4 years now, and I love every moment of it. And you guys can do all that too. It's not that difficult. I mean, if you go back into my older videos, you'll see a lot of the stuff that I've done, and all the planning that I've done, and all the things that I recommend for you guys. And if you follow that, you'll do pretty good. But the biggest one is getting your emergency fund in place, having your whiteboard. Your emergency fund is key. Getting rid of all your stuff is also key. And part of that is maybe possibly doing yard sales, putting stuff on Craigslist, also doing it on Facebook Marketplace. There's other ways to sell your goods. Maybe put it on some supermarkets have like a little bulletin board there. You can put stuff on a bulletin board. You can list it on your Facebook itself and see if anybody wants any of the things that you're selling. Maybe you have 2 cars and you have to get rid of one now. Start downsizing, getting rid of all that stuff, banking that money, and bank every nickel that you can. Try to cut back on everything that you possibly can, especially your housing. That's the #1 spot to save. Cut back on your food, cut back on traveling and going out and all that stuff, going out to eat. All that stuff can save you a lot of money. There's so many things you can do to start banking your money. And that's what you guys need to think about. You need to really start looking at your budget and say, okay, where can I cut? Where can I start cutting so I can put money in my emergency fund? You need to start getting that stash put away. Once you do that, you're all set. I try to keep these videos short and sweet because most of them are kind of self-explanatory to a certain extent. But this one here, You really have, each person is different. So like one person might say, well, Steve, I can't save any money. I don't have any way of saving. You have to save. The guys that are on bigger budgets are going to be able to save better than guys on smaller budgets, obviously, but it might take you going out, and plus if you're retired, it might mean you might have to work a little bit longer to get at least 10,000 put aside. I highly recommend that you have more than 10,000. And if you're on the sweet spot budget, you can at least come over here with a part of that budget, that savings. I mean, not the budget, the savings actually, the emergency fund, and then save later. If you're making $3,000 a month in your retirement, obviously you can save $1,000 or $1,500, and you can live off that $1,500 over here for a while and probably save even more that way. So you can have your emergency fund. Whatever it takes to get you there, you got to do it. You have to have that emergency fund. I tell everybody, if you don't have an emergency fund, don't come. You need at least something in the bank, and you need to have some credit cards free, and don't be using those credit cards when you get over here. You don't want to go back into debt over here in the Philippines. It's the worst possible thing that you can do. If you can pay it off in a month, okay, you know, like maybe use it for $200, $300, $400, $500 or something like that. Or if you're going to do like a purchase of maybe a computer or something like that, and you think you can pay it off in 2 or 3 months, fine. But I would not go above that. Stay safe, guys, with your money. Keep your money tight to your chest. Don't let it go. Don't get into debt. You know, don't come over here and start getting into debt. You don't want that. But save, guys. Your emergency fund's key. God bless, guys. Take care.